It says the meeting is now live streaming. We'll have somebody check that out. So hello, everybody. How you doing? We're so glad you come to spend a little bit of time with us tonight. We're looking forward to what Terry's going to share with us. I want to say thank you, those that are listening through Power of Faith Radio. We thank you so much. Our Georgia group text, they didn't tell me how many was there that has said listening tonight. Maybe they'll let me know here in a few minutes, but it's awful glad to have you. Awful glad, awful good. Can you say those two words together? Awful good. It's so good to hear you tonight. So, and
here in the South, we have several words that really doesn't go together, but we've somehow been able to do that.
Yeah, like up and under.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's up and under. So anyway, we're so glad you listening through Power of Faith Radio. Those of you that have joined us through Outreach Noah YouTube channel, we also want to thank you. Please, we're trying to get to 100 subscribers. If you'll kindly share that video with all your social media platforms, we greatly appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe yourself if you haven't subscribed. Hit that notification bell that you'll be notified every time a new video goes up. Those of you that are watching tonight via Outreach, no, that's Outreach. B'nai Noach Fellowship. I'm going around in circles here. Y'all need to help me. B'nai Noach Fellowship Facebook page. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. Also, those of you that are listening to A Simple Walk, we appreciate you joining us tonight. And also, South Carolina Noahide. Did I get that correctly? We're so glad you're with us tonight. That's Brooke Lee's page there. We're trying to stream on that as well. We appreciate everybody that has come this way to be with us tonight. So, Terry, how you doing?
My left eye won't leave me alone tonight.
Okay.
I've got those long eyelashes that my mama told me that would make a girl look real pretty. She said, yeah, I'd make a good girl. And I'm like, well, I wish somebody'd take these long eyelashes. Now that I wear glasses, they're constantly causing me issues.
Yeah.
So my mom, I wish she just took them back. All righty. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. It's been an eventful week. So, yeah. And I think we've all had some experiences here lately. This week has been a trying time for several of us. So it's good to be here on Wednesday night. Thank you for everyone for joining us again tonight. I'm going to do my best to finish up this series. We're going to go through 6 and 7 here, finish this series up. Next week, Hashem willing, Scotty's going to be drawing a rabbit out of the hat, see which question he's been collecting the questions, see what question we want to do, or questions, depends on how it goes. And we're going to do another question type thing we did a few weeks ago. I really kind of like those. It's nice to have a little bit of a break from just doing the series thing. So Scotty and I've been talking, got some things planned for the future. Looking forward to that. Some not concerns. I guess, how would you say, request? Just Scotty's got some comments on some things that people want to learn about. And so I'm going to be studying and for some of the things that y'all have sent in, questions. It's not necessarily just a question, but subject-wise. Subjects that y'all been, you're interested in. So looking forward to that in the future and everything. So how are you ready, Scotty?
Yeah. Won't you mention everybody's name who has joined us in the Zoom room tonight?
All righty. We've got Scotty, Mr. Sadaka. He's here. And then we've got Amuela. She's our yeoman. And we've got Ronald from Down Under. Hey, Ronald, been watching this new show out of Queensland. Now I want to go live in Queensland.
Which one?
Darby and Joan.
No, I don't know that one. No, I've got it. I've seen
it's
advertised, but I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's good. And Veronica, all the way up in Washington State. Good to see you again, Veronica. Is anything you heard any news on your situation? No news?
No news.
Okay. And we got Wendell. How's your wife doing?
She's going along with the radiation. she's just starting to see some effects from that. So
Okay.
we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I understand. My mom went through some stuff like that, so I understand. Then we've got Thomas. You feeling better tonight, Thomas?
Much, much better.
There you go.
Thanks for asking.
And we have Mary Marshall here joining us tonight. Hope you're doing well. And of course, we got Annie, Scotty's wife, has joined us, and she's she just got it on her. She's still in the kitchen cleaning up water.
No, she's. I think they're in the living room now.
All right, so
Yeah, no, so
okay, and then we've got Fred all the way from up in Kentucky that's joining us tonight as well. Glad to see you, Fred. We hadn't seen you in a while. Scott, are you about ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All righty.
We've got quite a few to cover tonight, so we want to get right into it. We've got 2 anniversaries I want to mention. The first one is Larry and Rita Cooper Beck. Rita Cooper Beck and Larry Beck. They had an anniversary. 50. I think it was 51.
I thought it was 50. Was it 51?
Might have been 50. I for some reason I'm thinking they showed pictures of 50, but it's the 51.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha.
But he's been married to her for almost half of 100 years. So it's
Yep.
so anyway, we're giving Sadaka for their anniversary tonight.
Probably
And-
give Sadaka for her.
yeah, that's exactly right. And Larry, if you're listening and you're watching,
Ooh,
we're gonna give-
Larry will get us next time he
we're gonna. So all right, Baruch Hashem. So anyway, also my wife and I had a wedding anniversary this
You
past
all.
week. We all had a wedding anniversary, 44 years. And so I'm giving
Congratulations.
Sadaka for that. Thank you so much, Terry. And we're doing that thankful Sadaka on both of those. Then all of a sudden we're going to cover our birthdays. Peyton Gates had a birthday this past week, and we're giving Sadaka for Peyton. Also, my wife had a birthday. I married her on her birthday. I was the best present she ever got. So anyway, so giving Sadaka for her birthday. We can have fun. Can't we have fun? We can
You
have
can
fun.
have fun.
So,
I mean, I don't know. You're the one who lost her.
yeah, I did lose her. Now you're going to make me tell that story, and I don't want to get off of your
I know. I'm just
class tonight. So one day I'll tell the story how I lost my wife in the hospital. So anyway, and also Ramona Perry had a birthday. I think it may be today. Had a birthday this week. So we're giving Sadaka for that. So now we're going to move on over into our we want to give Sadaka for people for full recoveries. I'm going to say it that way, for full recoveries. So and also some blessings. So anyway, we're giving Sadaka tonight for our teacher Pesach Sherbo and his wife Shira. Thank you so much. Shira Sheba, we're giving Sadaka for that. Also, Bobby Daly, we're giving Sadaka. Thank you, Bobby, for sending that Sadaka, giving Sadaka for Bobby Daly. Also, Mary Parsons, we're going to continue to give Sadaka as Wendell gave us an update. She's going through that chemo. So we're going to continue, Wendell, to give Sadaka for Mary. And then also, Amuela, somebody always sends, this is your dollar. Honey, they send it in, this is yours. We're going to give into Sadaka tonight. Also, they send in for Thomas Schaus, giving Sadaka. This is your dollar, Thomas. And also, now they sent in Sadaka for Veronica Port, but I want to add something to it. So we're going to give the dollar they sent, but also I want to give personal Sadaka tonight that Veronica gets her van back. Veronica got her van stolen, and we're just going to give Sadaka. So for a great outcome on that, you might get a better van. Great outcome on that. Okay. And then also Ronald Dickman. Ronald, you're looking awful good. Are you feeling awful good?
Yeah. As long as I don't exert myself, I'm feeling pretty good.
Okay.
Just take it easy, and I'm okay.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. We're going to continue to give Sadaka for you, Ronald. Also,
Thank you.
Sharon Garland. We're giving Sadaka for Sharon Garland. I think she had a heart valve replacement, giving Sadaka for her. Also, Ethelene Moore, giving Sadaka for Ethelene Moore. I believe she had a stroke, and requested tzedakah there. Also, Tina Lyons, we're giving tzedakah there for Tina Lyons. And also, we're giving thank you tzedakah tonight for Terry Hayes. He had a little accident, but through that, Hashem has shown himself. And so we're giving thank you tzedakah for Terry Hayes. We have two blessed memories tonight. Two blessed memories. We're giving tzedakah for two. Robert Schaefer. Robert Schaefer, we're given, he just recently left this walk of life, and we're given blessed memory tzedakah for Robert Schaefer. And also we're given blessed memory, a great lady who passed. This was her birthday, just passed this week. And we're given blessed memory tzedakah for Sally Justice. All right. I always say, remember, if you give tzedakah, charity, gratitude, happiness, hold the door for somebody. And I'm getting handed, this used to be in our, giving tzedakah. Thank you, honey. She's bringing notes in here to me. So I'm going to add tzedakah for my daughter, Pam Helton, tonight. Thank you, honey, for bringing that in here to me. And so if you give, you can change you. It'll change your community. It will change the world. I want to tell a little story real quick. I've been meeting these guys on a little, how would you say it, Terry? Just a little men's fellowship thing.
If anyone is familiar with Hardee's in the South on Sundays, a lot of us older folks likes to gather in there.
I thought you were going to say a lot of old people. I'm there.
I said us older folks likes to go to Hardee's on Sundays and gather around and just sit and talk and over some biscuits and gravy or sausage and bacon biscuits and stuff. So it's a gathering place for some of us down here in the South.
Yes.
Especially on Sunday mornings. It's just one of those, it's kind of become a custom tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been talking to these gentlemen for quite some time about tzedakah, and they talk Bible. They come together and just, they talk biblical text, and ever so often I'll put my 2 cents in that ends up being a nickel. And so y'all get that here in a little bit. So anyway, and of course I constantly talk about giving charity. Well, there was a gentleman that come in last Sunday morning, and there was 4 of us, maybe 5 sitting there. And this gentleman come in, and he usually comes just from time to time and sits, and he really doesn't say too much. He just sips on a cup of coffee and stuff. But anyway, he came in, and I was watching him over at the counter, and he ordered a biscuit, and he counted out change and had just enough change to get him a biscuit. He was a widower, I found out. And so he counted out just enough change to get a biscuit, but didn't get no drink. And so he came and sat down, and I noticed it, but I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to do anything to cause, him to have to explain himself. Does everybody understand that? Just, I didn't want to embarrass him or anything. And so I had bought a large cup of black coffee, and I didn't, there was no way I was going to drink it all. And I had just sat down. And out of the blue, I just thought, hey, there ain't no way I'm going to drink all this coffee. Can I share this with somebody? And I looked at him and said, here, let me share this coffee with you. So I grabbed a little cup and poured half the coffee over in it, probably a little more than half, but poured it over in there and give it to him. And then I kind of looked around, I noticed one of the other gentlemen. Well, I went up and got him while that was going on. I went up and got a couple of biscuits and brought them back and rolled the top down here so you can take this home with you. Just set it down. I just sat down. And then another gentleman got up and went and got him a gallon of tea and brought it and set it down. Didn't say nothing, just set it down. And another gentleman got up and went and got some chicken biscuits and brought them and just sat them down till everybody at the table went and got him something and said, and he was just like looking like, well, what do I say? And nobody covered it. Nobody said anything. Nobody asked, do you need it? Just all fell into place. But I could tell 2 things had happened. He got touched by the generosity of the people that were sitting there, and the people got touched by the generosity and the charity that they gave. So it'll change you, it'll change your community, and together we can change the world. All right, Terry, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I just got a few things I would like to add, if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead.
Could you put Ronnie's name on the list? He's had an incident today.
Oh, did I got his name on the list, but did I name him?
Uh,
I guess I looked over. Let's do it again. Ronnie Suits. You're talking about Ronnie Suits.
He's a coworker. He's a COVID survivor. Saturday, his blood pressure started just dropping, and he had a procedure this week that, you know, he's 75. It was time to have his colonoscopy done. And so he had called his low blood pressure kind of went on. The doctor told him, well, you know, the prep and the procedure and everything has a tendency to cause you to be dehydrated. So they told him go home early one day and get his fluid levels back up, because his blood pressure dropped. He was having some dizziness a little bit. Well, today when I got in, today's Wednesday, and he only works 4 days a week. He's part-time. And a lot of times he schedules his VA appointments for Wednesdays on his day off. Well, as soon as I walked in this morning, my phone rang, and he didn't sound good. And he said that his blood pressure had just plummeted last night, and he was having chest pains. He wasn't sure if it was because of his lungs, because he had the pneumonia and everything that messed up his lungs. He couldn't tell if it was his lungs or his chest. So he had a call in to the doctor, his VA doctor, to see if he could go on to the regular doctor and get checked out. I tried to contact him on my way home, and I didn't get a hold of him. He said he was going to give me a call as soon as he found out something. So he may be at home resting. I'm hoping that's the case. So,
okay.
But yeah, he's had a low blood pressure issue that just has been slowly getting worse.
We're adding that Sadaka right now, Terry.
And then I did not have time to prepare for this, and I apologize, but it's something that I just heard about, and I've just been trying to, when I can, check on it a little bit. And some of you may have heard the news. I heard through someone that I follow. My wife and I follow on Instagram. But Jackson, Mississippi doesn't have any water.
Wow.
They don't have no water. They don't have any water. I don't know the situation. I just know that this one person that is irate that he's actually drawn national attention because of him standing up for what is right. And he's been fighting some battles on some things, but he got on there this morning talking about how upset that we're sending millions of dollars overseas, and we've got a whole city that doesn't have water. And so that's how I heard about it. He was ready to go. He got on this morning. He says, I don't drive a truck, can't drive one, but if someone come pick me up, we'll load some water up. I've got money. We'll get water. We'll stop and pick up donated water all the way, and we'll take it. And so of course, he wasn't able to do that, but what he did find out, and I just wanted to share this with y'all. There's some churches and some charity places over there. I don't have the addresses. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to check on it. I mean, I'm eating supper on the way home, so I can get here for class. But what I did hear was there's some places in Jackson, Mississippi, and what some people are doing, if you want to do this as a tzedakah to help out fellow Americans in Jackson, Mississippi, at this time, he said they just want water bottles. They don't need any of the formulas and stuff like that. They need the water. They need water. Some people are like him has gone on Amazon and ordered, whatever you can, case or more than one case of water bottles, and they're sending it to the addresses where they're calling it water drops. You might be able to go on and find. I didn't get a chance to go on and get any addresses, but if you want to help out, go on, look for Jackson, Mississippi, on how you can help them get some water, because they're in dire need, what I'm understanding. So sorry, I'm a little ill prepared on that. But I just did want to make the announcement. So if someone has the means to be able to help out, that you have an opportunity to help out fellow human beings, especially with the issue with water. And that's Jackson, Mississippi. Like I said, I don't know the whole story. I just heard about it this morning on the way to work, and I went on my Instagram on the way home and was trying to find out some stuff. And that's all I was able to find out just on what, on the drive home this afternoon. So,
All right.
anything else, Scotty?
Nope, I believe that's it, Terry. If you're ready to go, I'm going to put you on speaker view, and there you go.
All righty. Good evening, everyone. And again, welcome back to our Outreach Noah class, Wednesday night class. Appreciate everyone who's hanging in there with us. As we say down here in the South, you might be hanging in like a hair in a biscuit. Oh, Veronica, she said, and they're just laughing. Hey, Scotty and I got a lot of these little side notes from the hills of Tennessee. That's just kind of fun. All right, tonight, like I said, Hashem willing, we're going to finish up this article, 7 Laws for a Beautiful Planet by Tzvi Freeman of Chabad.org. I'd said it at the beginning. I probably should have said it every class, but I have gone back and I've gotten written permission from Chabad to teach this article. And so if anybody wants to throw some copyright issues there, it's already been taken care of. On the Outreach Noah YouTube channel, I have gone and actually copy and pasted the copyright permission to be able to use this article in our class. So I know some people, I think, may have had some, questions about that, because Facebook and YouTube are very, very picky when it comes to copyright issues. So we do have permission to do this. Tonight, we're going to be finishing this article up. Like I said, it's been a real good introductory article as far as philosophy goes about the 7 laws. We have plans, we have plans, Scotty and I have been discussing. We were wanting to do some deep dive into the individual, but along with that, one of the areas that we've been getting requests on is the location of where these are within the book of Genesis. And as we go through each of these a little more deeper in depth, later we'll be covering those that area where you can go, and it's part of this is going to be learning. It's a whole different way of learning how to study the scriptures. And it's how Scotty and I learned from our teachers who are part of a tradition that goes back 3,400 years. And so it's really good information we'll be bringing to you in future classes. Scotty, anything from last week that we need to touch on before?
I'm coming. It takes me 2 more clicks to get there to you.
3, 4, 5. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got one over here for the radio, and I got one over here for the Zoom class. And so anyway, no, I think Terry, some people ask some questions as you first get in it, and then as you go, you sort of answer those questions. Now there were some questions about some of the positions you talked about on the 7 responsibilities. I call them responsibilities, the categories, the laws, if you want to present it that way. And of course, there was some people that was pretty well fascinated about the pork issues and things of that nature. But we'll not cover those tonight. But I really want to encourage everybody to take notes as you go through. Put down questions because I was talking to somebody this week about this. I'm glad you asked me this, Terry, to put down questions. And I'm talking about putting down questions that you may not ask tonight, but see if those questions get answered as we go through the text, as we go through the laws. See if that answer will, if you won't get it, an answer. Don't just write down one question. There's times I've went through classes, I've wrote down all kind of questions. Good. When you study good, the first part of studying is asking questions.
That's the main part of studying. I mean, that's something that, we were taught by our teachers is always question. And always that's why, when a lot of times when you're asking especially like a rabbi, you ask them a question, they will answer you with a question.
Exactly.
Because they, part of it, it's like this, the teacher is a student and the student is a teacher. And it goes both ways. And so a lot of times when you get it's in the question, answering a question with a question is not necessarily putting the question off. It's generally done to cause you to think about this a little bit more, to research it a little bit more. Maybe it's a question you didn't think about.
Yeah.
So it's a real good way of learning. And
so I challenge everybody to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Write those. If you want to start you a little side notebook of just questions, like a little question journal.
Most religions, I'm going to say it this way, being particular of my wording, most religions do not like questions, because when you begin to ask questions, it begins to show that there are some questions they just don't like to ask. But we love questions, and you'll love questions.
And we don't have all the answers. I'll tell you, I don't have all the answers. And if you ask something I don't know, I'll go find it. And if I can't find it, I know a whole passel of people that are a wide variety of people that have various backgrounds, and long times. I know some that's been into studying, this stuff for a long time. So probably nothing they've ever come across. So alrighty.
All right, Terry.
We'll head right on in here. And like I said, a lot of those stuff, especially I know last week touched on a lot of stuff. We're going to be getting into those individual laws and spending time on those. So it's going to be really, really good stuff. Okay. Ronald says on the Outreach Noah YouTube chat, I'm presuming it's the chat, he has put 2 water drop point, I guess, addresses for 2 water point drops for Jackson. So thank you, Ronald. All right. Number 6, harnessing harness and sublimate the human libido. The 6th principle of Noah is about harnessing and sublimating the human libido. Incest, adultery, rape, and other licentious practices are forbidden by this principle. Sexuality is a fountain of life, and so nothing is more divine than the sexual act. So too, nothing can be more debasing and destructive to the human being. The union of man and woman is a reflection of the cosmic dance by which all things come to be. It is the union of heaven and earth, spiritual and material, soul and body, energy and matter, oneness and diversity. When man and woman unite in harmonious, caring way, their union rings throughout the universe like a song resonating in a vast chamber. All of reality plays along as an orchestra plays a grand concerto. They bring healing and blessing to the world, just as they bring new souls dressed in pure, pristine light. Yet, as with any art, to achieve such harmony is a struggle. As the artist must master his craft, choosing the beautiful and rejecting the ugly, as a musician disciplines his fingers or the dancer her limbs, so to this primal art of human union has its own rules and own disciplines. As art is supernatural, as a supernatural act of the human being, so is marriage. It is not nature, but higher than nature. For some people, this requires a superhuman effort. This is what the beauty of human sexuality is all about, the ability to be supernatural. In the long run, nothing could be more satisfying and create more beauty. when two humans come together, it's more than just body to body, it's soul to soul. When the marriage has that, when most couples get married, it's in the animal form. She's hot, he's hunky, and they're hunky dory, and they're going on. But as you grow older together, that is when the souls they grow older together. And so there is actually, and this is something here. It's kind of been, an issue with me as I'm looking at the society around me, not just necessarily in this subject, but in a lot of things. When you look at this society, one day on the way to work, I was looking for that word. What is missing? What is missing? And what I have found that is missing in our society, whatever subject you want to attach to it, and that is guidelines. Nobody lives by guidelines anymore. They live for themselves, what they can get. And it's obvious. It's so obvious when you look at how people drive, how people act, and how they act with one another. There's nothing guiding their relationships, guiding their actions. Everybody is their own God. To be honest with you, everybody is their own God. And they set their own standards. And when you start turning and you find out that the Creator has a set of guidelines to live by, and that's what the 7 laws for a beautiful planet is. It's guidelines for humanity to inhabit Earth. He created us, and this is his guidelines. These aren't the man-made guidelines. All man-made guidelines, they get changed, they get put aside, ignored. And yes, I know God's guidelines has been ignored, but that didn't do away with them. When man ignores his own guidelines, they disappear, and they change with the society. And that's one of the things that's beautiful about the Torah is the guidelines that's been there since day one of let there be light hasn't changed. It doesn't change with society. That's how you know it's divine. It's there. It's never changed. Society has changed. Society has tried to change them, but you can't. You can't change the divine guidelines. They are the rock in which God gave humanity to live by. And according to the prophecies, all humans will live by these. Isaiah chapter 2 is one of them that tells us all humanity in the future, all nations will be flooding into Jerusalem to learn what you're getting to hear through this as a prequel, I guess you can say. But even with the sexuality between husband and wife and just sexuality and period, there are guidelines, and they're not guidelines to prevent you from doing something. They're guidelines to prevent you from getting hurt. The Creator is saying, this is what is good and this is what's not so good. But he's given us free will to choose. Scotty, anything on this before I go to number 7? Because it's just a little bit short one right here. Like I said, we're going to be going through all of these a little more in depth. Number 7, create mechanisms to ensure justice. The 7th principle of Noah demands that we ensure justice in our world. No other creature on the planet but the human being requires a court to enforce law and order. The fish know their place in the sea, the birds, their pathways in the skies, and the animals know the laws of their kingdoms. Only the human being must have a score set before him so that he will not play in grinding discord. Only the human being has the ability to disrupt the order of the entire planet, to step outside of the sync with his own purpose and the divine plan. Ooh, Scotty just appeared. I hope he got more water going. Oh, but yeah, the human being is the only one that has to have a court to enforce law and order, because without it, you get back to what we had before the flood. They had law and order, but it got ignored. That's one of the reasons why when the Creator gives Israel its detailed laws, it deals a lot with justice, weights and measures, business. The judges, not to look favorable upon a rich man against a poor man. And in the court of law, they are to be looked at as equal. There's a lot of law that is given in Israel that deals with justice. We don't have all the separate laws. We have that. It breaks down as we're going to learn. We have the one law. And if we have the law of setting up just laws in courts, and if you operate by with Israel, if you operate with untrue measures and weights, you're putting your thumb on the scales, you're violating that. But here we don't have that. We don't have the law of secure measures and weights. We have the law of theft. And if you do that, you're stolen. You've broken the one law. It's a little bit, it may sound simple, but there's a lot more to it. But there has to be justice. That's the biggest thing. And as I've said before in our past classes, when you look at the flood, when you look at Sodom and Gomorrah, when you look at Nineveh, when the Creator gets involved to the point to where either the planet or a group of people is going to be destroyed, in every case yes, there was immorality. Yes, there were things that they shouldn't have been doing, that they were doing in secret. And the morality was all messed up. That may have been part of it. But when you look at when the prophet says, this is the sin of your sister Sodom, it was injustice. It was injustice at Sodom. It was injustice at Nineveh. It was injustice at the flood. When you and I are not being just with one another, we have enough documented proof in the Hebrew scriptures. Our daddy, our Creator, he gets involved big time. And that is why he requires us. It's actually a law for the non-Jewish people to have just court systems. And we don't have that right now. How much does our judges and lawyers and court systems get bribed? Bribery is a big no-no. God gave Israel specific laws about that. We have the law of injustice. We are not permitted to have unjust court systems. And so we have to be praying about some of these things. We need to start getting, I'm not never active much politically. I wasn't raised in that kind of family, but I know people who are. And so some of us that can't get involved with that, maybe you can get behind someone who is. But if your little area, your town, your community creates a law that is unjust, then it's actually, we are required by God to get involved to make sure injustice doesn't happen. As a community and as an individual, we've got to learn to not be unjust even with our coworkers, our family members. We have to learn not to have anything unjust toward another human being. Because it says only the human being has the ability to disrupt the order of the planet. If the Creator has a purpose for humankind, why doesn't he himself rein humankind in? Let him mete out justice himself. Why should we meddle into his business? Good question. But this itself is the reason, both for our freedom and for our responsibilities. We are meant to be partners in the creation, and that most of all is through determining and delivering justice. We are not meant to passively observe oppression, inequality, and injustice and accept this as fate. We are meant to be outraged, to cry out to the Creator of all things. How could this be? And then to do something about it. Even a small act of justice for a single human being impacts every other human being on the planet, just like Scotty's story. Tzedakah is justice. That's just translated as justice. Tzedakah is translated as justice and righteousness. And justice is mishpat, deals with laws of society. When you see justice and righteousness together in the Hebrew scriptures, it's mishpat and tzedakah. Mishpat pertains to the laws that governs a society. But meeting out tzedakah, the true giving, is a form of justice. I mean, just look at what happened at Scotty at his breakfast here the other day. Yes, they were giving to a man who didn't have anything, and that is great. That is awesome. But they were also doing a just thing for another human being. They were doing what was right, and they were doing what was just. It all plays together. It's like justice and righteousness is the left hand and the right hand coming together to do a job. But even a small act of justice for a single human being impacts other human beings on the planet. We are restoring harmony to our reality, placing a sync with the higher reality, a supernal order. In that order, every life is an entire world, and no one is insufficient. And so, in establishing justice for one, all the world is healed. I want to go back to this point right here. If the Creator has a purpose for humankind, why doesn't He Himself reign in humankind? Let Him mete out justice for Himself. Why should we meddle in His business? But for this is the reason, both for our freedom and our responsibilities. We are meant to be partners in creation, and that most of all is through determining and delivering justice. We are to cry out, and then we are to do something. I see all the time online, we all do. We've all done it. Especially in times like what we're going through now, and even hard times. You've got people who expect God to come in and fix things. That's their prayers. You can see that. You see it in the memes and the threads that goes on Facebook. God do this and God do that and fix that. Let me tell you how wrong that is. That's just like a child who messes up his own bed and expects his mom and dad to make his bed every morning instead of him. It's the child who messes his room up but expects his parents to pick up his toys. That's just not the way it goes. Look at how our society is today. Our society today is a group of a bunch of parents who's gone in and cleaned their kid's room and made their bed and worshiped the kid like it was a god because they didn't want it to have to do something. And so much of that has affected spiritual lives of human beings who cry out and expect God to fix our problems. When the Hebrew scripture shows, I love it. Rebbe Nachman says if it can be broken, it can be fixed. The problem is today we are a responsibless, godless society. Nobody wants a responsibility, and nobody wants the guidelines. They want a free-for-all. They think life is all about, music and Cheerios and doing whatever. And it's noticeable. I mean, I see it at work. I've got a person at work. I just want to ring his freaking neck some days. I ship. The other guy that ships UPS, he'll go over in the stack of boxes, and if there's paper in the box or something, he'll just dump it in the floor and go on, and I'm always picking it up. And I've told him, quit doing that. I says, you do that at home? Do you throw trash in the floor and expect your wife to pick it up? I mean, it's all around us. We've got to bring some responsibility and some guidelines back to our society. If not, it's over, folks. When a society has given up on its responsibilities of being proper humans, given up on the guidelines that directs us, we are not headed down a very nice path. Matter of fact, the history that I have read about nations who have come and gone, and what the ancient Torah sages have said about this, is when a nation forsakes the Creator and forsakes justice, God will send another nation in to take it away. You don't deserve to live there anymore. You don't deserve to be who you are. You've thrown it away. So why should you keep existing? And that's where we're going. I mean, today I was almost in 4 different wrecks today going to work because of these people weaving in and out, running late, and they were running people. Even the guy behind me had to hit his brakes. He almost slap over this one person who was just forcing people off the road. Understand this. We have a law. We're going to get to this in the laws of murder. We have laws to guideline us how we are to treat others. And if you put yourself and someone else in bodily harm, that is a lower form of the violation of murder. This is what Scotty and I are trying to teach. We're trying to bring. Mayberry's gone, guys. I was talking to Scotty about this week. There's one episode that it's funny how an episode of Andy Griffith sticks out in your head. One of them sticks out in mine is when Opie was with a group of boys that wasn't necessarily the kind of kids he should have been hanging around with, but little boys, they want to belong. Guys want to belong. Gals want to belong. Well, guess what? One of them threw a rock and busted the glass on a lamppost, and they all ran off and left him standing there holding the bag. And that's how society has become. Society don't care about you no more. It'll run you off the road and keep going, leaving you holding the bag. But that's wrong. That's divinely wrong. And only so much of that can go on in a nation throughout before God steps in and says, you don't deserve it anymore. It's like a kid. You're going to treat your bike like that. You're going to throw that bike down in the middle of the yard. I remember my dad used to tell me that. You're going to throw that bike out in the middle of the yard. I just bought that thing for you. Bring it up here and lean it up against the house, against the porch, but don't leave it laying out in the yard. Don't leave it in the driveway. But how much are we with God's way of laws and living? They're not to put us down. They're not to bind us. They're there to free us. There's actually a lot of freedom in this. And I've just been, when you look at these and you study these laws and you start looking at the society, it can become aggravating sometimes, doesn't it, Scotty? And what's really missing today, I'll be honest with you, other than the guidelines and responsibilities, and the root cause of that is there is no spiritual awareness that there is a God who is creator and king. They want to look at him as daddy and climb up in his lap and, love on me and, oh, he's going to give me this and I'm going to get this high emotion over here. We do not see. I mean, I think even Christy talked about it on one of her videos this week, with them being in Australia and understanding what a monarch is. And we don't, Western religions has robbed the kingship of God from humanity because they're all looking for what they can get from God. And they forget he's the king on the throne. We're the created. And so anything else there, Scotty? Oh, let me finish up. I got one other thing I want to do before we go to that, if you don't mind. In finishing in this article, it says the goal. Mr. Freeman says the goal. Why have these 7 principles become so crucial today? Because today we are standing at the doorstep of a whole new world. All of our technology, all of our advances in science and social justice all drive us up a steadily track towards an age promised by the prophets and described by the sages, an age of wisdom and of peace. The know-how is in place. We can feed everyone. We can teach everyone. We can all join together in dialogue and creativity. We only need a common ground, not one that human beings can establish for us, not one that can rise from our consciousness. That's just more dusty topsoil, easily blown away by the first wind. The common ground we need must be a ground from which we are formed at the essence of humanity's purpose and the meaning of reality. And that lies only in the hand of the infinite light that formed us and the voice that Noah heard. And then I wrote this, added this. And as we have learned, all of the 7 divine principles connects us with each other and with God. They connect heaven and earth. Go ahead, Scotty.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to start this, but I'm just going to start talking. You know, we do live in society where, you know, it's volatile everywhere you go. Not just religious, but political, and it's got everybody just so wound tight. So I got this $20 bill in my vehicle that I somehow I acquired it. I don't know who gave it to me. It was changed from somewhere, but it was torn in half, and I got 2 different halves of a $20 bill, which it taped together. Whoever gave it to me taped together. It's no good because it's 2 halves. And because when you try to spend it and somebody sees it, they say, wait a minute, that's been torn apart and put back together. Now, you can mail it to the government or whatever and work on trying to get it, you know, but then that comes out. So what's it going to cost you more than $20 to finally get $20 back? So I asked, I did a survey with this $20 bill. As I ran into religious people, quote unquote, I would show them the $20 bill. And I'd say, hey, what do you think I ought to do with it? And 9 out of 10 of these people would say, oh, just slip it off to somebody else and let them deal with it. Slip it in your money when you're going to pay something and then pass it on. And then one of them had the audacity to tell me, and this just fold it up and give it to a waiter or a waitress because they don't never look at the money till they get it in their pocket. Man, I thought, am I believing what I'm hearing from religious people that's telling me to pass it on? So I got this $20 bill. I said, I'm not passing it on. And I've got it up in my visor. And every time something happens to me where I want to react, I take a look at that $20 bill and say, it can stop right here. I can stop it right here. I can change the reaction of it. I can change the lie of it. I can change the gossip of it. I can stop it right here. So I just want to tell this. I just want to tell this story. So if you need a $20 bill, I'll mail you one. If you need one, I'll mail you one you can look at from time to time. But I've held on to that for a couple of years now. And there's been times, I'm going to tell you, there's been times I wanted to tell people off I just wanted to give them a piece of my mind, what little bit I got left. But I would somehow, I would look up and I would see that $20 bill. And I took the responsibility to stop it right here. So it's quiet in here now. Nobody wants to tell on themselves, do they?
Like I said, we're all guilty of all of that. That's part of this is learning and growing. You know, we got a few minutes. I don't want this to go into another 30-minute thing, but it can. But I do want to mention this because we've got some that are, you know, especially on the radio, and it goes all over the world, and it's audio. And we don't, you know, we do have the YouTube channel that people can go back to and watch the videos. This month on the Hebrew calendar is the month of Ellul. It began the Saturday evening, I believe it is either Friday evening or Saturday evening. It began. It's the month of Ellul. The month of Ellul is very important. It's on the first of Ellul is when Moses Rabbeinu went up on the mountain to get the first time to get the tablets and stuff. But the month of Ellul is a time of inventory. It's 40 days of self-evaluation and inventory that leads up to the Jewish days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which we're not commanded to observe. That's for Israel. But the significance is, especially with Rosh Hashanah, it's the day of judgment for the entire world for the next year. All of humanity around the world will pass. It passes before the king, and he makes a judgment on what we done this last year. And he sets in his book who will live, who will be born, who will die, how much money they will make, what jobs they will have. He runs his kingdom. Whether you're aware of it or not, the king runs his kingdom. And everything that happens to you throughout the next year was set forth from that Rosh Hashanah. And so the month of Ellul is the time that the Creator has given us, just like a business. Every business that is a true business at the end of the year will take some time to do an inventory. They'll see where they stand before the next year, where their mistakes were, where they gained at, what can they do better. They will inventory their stock to see if they have overages and unders, you know, and what they need to improve on the stock of their products. And so it's a natural business to take a time of inventory. And the Creator has given us the month of Ellul for each of us to take an inventory of our lives over the past year, where, you know, what we could have worked on and done better, what we did good. It's a time when the Creator is the way our Jewish brothers and sisters, they call it this month, is that the king is out in the field, meaning this is the time that we pray, we repent all year long, but this is the time of inventory, big inventory, that sets everything for the next year. And so I just wanted to share that with everyone. If you've noticed that sometimes, whether you have known it or anything, you'll know there's something been different the last few days. It's going to be different for the next 40 days, that there's something in the air. And that's because it's inventory time. It's time for us to take stock of our lives and approach our Creator, our Father and our King, the Creator, the God of Israel, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and talk to him about the things that, you know, you didn't do so good last year, character traits and different things like that. And maybe, you know, about your job, about your income, and discuss it. It's time to do inventory and talk to the one who owns everything on the earth, and inventory your life, good and bad, or good and not so good. I don't like the word bad, good and not so good. and inventory that and see where you can maybe get you a notebook and set you some goals for the next year of things that you want to improve on, and things that maybe that what you want to improve on was things that you did really good at last time, but you want to achieve to the next level. So this is the month before we get to Rosh Hashanah, before the next year is written and recorded. Take time to discuss it with the Creator. And you'll see that this month, and like I said, it began, I think it was at the end of the 28th. I think it was the sundown on the 28th that it began. So the next 40 days, we have time to go and I'm doing the same thing with myself. I've seen an uptick in some things in my life over the last month or so. And I think it was just some things that the Creator's pointing out that, hey, you need to work on this. So you need to, if you're getting those nudges, follow through with them and work on yourself. This is a month of inventory and self-examination. And it's a good thing. Don't debase yourself with it. Don't consider yourself lowly. No, that's not what this is for. This is a period to see where you need to grow, see where you have grown, and celebrate with the Creator. Maybe there's a habit or something that you've been working on and you got over it. You know, like maybe one of them is you want to lose weight. Well, I found it. You know, I got to. You know, I got to return what's lost if you. But yeah, month of Ellul. Do a little bit of research on it. Chabad.org has a lot of good articles on Ellul. It's ELUL or LLUL. I'm a Scotty. I'm not the best speller, but Chabad.org is a really good one for looking up articles on this month. Now, granted, a lot of those are written toward the Jewish people, but there are things you can glean from them when they're talking about prayer, self-evaluation, drawing close to the Creator, things like that. That fits all of us, all humanity. Go ahead, Scott.
So what is the Amulella put in there, by the way? It's August 28th, 2022 is when that started. So
yes, I thought it was the 28th. Yeah.
What is so now here it's sometimes described as the king is in the field.
Yes.
Could you explain that just a little bit more for those if they want to go to Chabad.org? That would be a.
I tell you what, Christy over at My Noahide Family, the Noahides of Australia, New Zealand Facebook group. I think that's a private group though, but she's done a recent video. I got to watch a little bit of it this morning before I left for work. Didn't get to watch all of it, but she really did a good job in explaining the king is in the field, because see, Isaiah 45, he's close to all of those who call upon him. So what makes it different now? Here's the thing that's different now. She was explaining like living in the under a monarch, like most of us, you know, especially here in America and a lot of countries that have presidents and figureheads, but we don't have kings and queens. That makes, because we've gotten away from a lot of that kind of rulership in our world today, and I think it's done. The wrong person in those areas become tyrants, but the right kind of people really bless their countries. So she was using an example of Queen Elizabeth, because she's an Australian, and the Queen Elizabeth. So most of the time she's in her castle, not castle, but in the grounds where she lives, and she's doing the duties of the queen. She's always doing that, and with the family and stuff like that, but she's not out in the public. You know, she's there, you see her, they have the pictures of her and all that stuff. But then there are times that she comes out from behind the gates and she walks down the sidewalk and she meets the people in the kingdom and shakes their hands and maybe has a word or two with them. And the people are able to draw a little closer to the queen and maybe even get to hear her voice. And so she kind of uses that as a physical example, you know, because the Creator's everywhere. He's not in one place. You know, and in essence, he's always in the field. But at this time of month, his ear is very attentive to our prayers and in times of repentance and request for for help, for changes. And it's a time, and it's like this. I love this, of the Breslov, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. They really got some really good teachings in this area. Why it's good to have this month of inventory time is, and when you begin to reflect upon yourself, where you've grown spiritually, and you places where you need to grow spiritually and physically as well. It's not everything, just spiritual, but it's just your whole being, because you're a whole being. They're like this. The Creator is the judge. And this is also any time of repentance throughout the year. If you confess, if you've got some sins that you're doing, you've got to confess them to the Creator specifically. You acknowledge, hey, I've done this, I've failed in this, I've sinned against you. You've got problems. You want to overcome this. You're going to do your best to try to stop this. And you've already presented this to the judge. So on the day of judgment, when you leave this world and you go before the heavenly court, which we all will have our time at the standing before the judge, and the prosecutor comes up and he wants to say, well, great judge, look, so-and-so done this. The judge looks and says, oh, we've already taken care of that. We've discussed that. Next. And I love that analogy of how the Breslov says that's what repentance does, is when you're confessing before the Creator, not that, oh, I've sinned and all that. No, you've got to be specific. You got to be detailed before the King, because the prosecutor, when you're standing before the great judge, prosecutor is going to be in detail of what he's there to blame you for. But if you take care of issues before then, there's no discussion. The judge was like, we've already taken care of that. He's already confessed that. And it kills the prosecutor's argument against you. And so that's why another good time for the month of Elul is good for, because in speaking humanly, because God doesn't have ears, doesn't have any form. Well, he uses human terminology for, so he can relate with us, and he doesn't have to become flesh to relate with us. He made us. He doesn't need another story, but his ear is attentive. His ear is like more attentive right now. He's opened it up even more for those who are willing to take time to take inventory and stock of their lives with him. It's not a woe is me party. It's not a pity party. It's you're going to work together with your Maker to make your life better next year. Go ahead, Scotty.
No, that's great. That was a great explanation. We found that, and Amuela shared it, and I've shared it. Amuela beat me to it, but I should have known she's going to beat me to it. But but for Christy Seaton, My Noahide Family, check that out. That's a great video. It is a great video.
Yeah, she's got a couple. She got that one, and she did one before that. That's really good. That helps explain what's the month of Elul. Go to her. Go to My Noahide Family, Christy Seaton in Australia, and she has she's got 2 recent videos of Elul up, and she's got a link in the one before the one she did. That's the newest one that goes to one she did last year, and that kind of comes together. And she does a real good job. Matter of fact, I talked to Scotty. Hey, Scotty, we need to do a video. And then here Christy puts it out and said, "Now you don't need to reinvent the wheel." She done a good job. So I'm sharing her the works that she does. She does really good over there in Australia. And we thank her for the work she's doing there.
If I'm not mistaken, and Amuela can correct me on this if I'm not right, she posts all those videos on her YouTube channel My Noahide Family. Doesn't she
Yeah.
have a YouTube channel, My Noahide Family? And so if you can't find that Facebook group, you can go over there to My Noahide Family and find her videos.
Yeah, because some of the groups she's mentioned, I think, is private.
Yeah,
Groups.
the Facebook group is private. I just went to see if I could earlier too, to see if I could move it across, but all I could do was send it to someone in Messenger, and I forgot about her YouTube channel, which is, I was going to mention that Terry beat me to that. He already had that in line to say about her YouTube channel, so that's free, accessible to everybody as apart from the Facebook group.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, kind of on a lighter note, I just got to bring this up because it just came to my mind. You know, Mr. Freeman was talking about how we have the technologies today, you know, to help feed and to help dialogue. You know, I mean, look at us. We're right here. Just this one group right here, just in the Zoom group, is from one end of the earth to the other. Then we have the radio station, Power Faith Radio, that Scotty has. It's all over the earth, and he's got a world there that shows up where anybody that's logged in, one, you know, it's got countries that are lit up on the globe where people are logged in at. So we have all these technologies, and everybody, Scotty knows, and everybody that knows me knows I'm a Trekkie. Well, I pulled one on the nurse this week when I had my accident at work. I had examining a car door, got away from me and made a real nasty cut on my arm. So I had to go to the doctor and get some work done on it. And I haven't had a tetanus shot since the early 90s. And so they said, you're going to have a tetanus shot. That was the middle. I said, well, I knew I was going to have one. That was a given. I haven't had one in 20 plus years. And I looked right at the nurse, and because I don't like needles, I've had bad experiences. When I was in 6th grade, I had appendicitis. They stuck both my arms at the elbow area where it bends with an IV about 4 times each before they found out the IV needle was defective. I've had them broke off. So I've not had a good. So I looked at her and I said, now listen here, I'm a Trekkie. And she's like, so? I said, this is 2022, right? She goes, you're right. I said, you scanning that in now, right? I said, no more needles. You're going to go up there and scan it in, right? She said, what? I said, come on, it's 2022. You tell me you still use an old fashioned needle. I said, get the little scanner out and scan my arm like they do on Star Trek. I said, we're ready for that now. I said, we got touchscreen computers. They came out with that in the 80s when Star Trek was doing that. Now let's scan our shots in. And she goes, oh, maybe another 50 years. Stuck me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to end that with a light one.
All right. Well, Terry, are we coming to a close?
We're coming to a close. We just finished this series, and like, if you got any questions, message Scotty, and next week we will, Hashem willing, we're going to take a question. Generally, we like to, he's kind of got the questions. It seems to be like, what a lot of people are asking the same question in various different forms. A lot of times we will take a very popular one that seems to be from a consensus of the group and jump on that. And he'll let me know here this week which one I need to get ready for.
All right. Yep. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody. We want to thank everybody for joining us tonight through Power Faith Radio. And we certainly appreciate your time. And those of you listening by Outreach Noah YouTube channel, please remember, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell that you'll be notified every time a new video goes up. Those of you that are listening by B'nai Noach Fellowship and A Simple Walk and South Carolina Noahides, share those videos with all your social media platforms, and we'll greatly appreciate it. And we will be here next Wednesday, but then I want to say the following Wednesday, that the 17th. What day was that? Did anybody remember what that date was? I'm sorry, I should have looked.
Next week's the 7th. 14th.
It's the 14th. Yeah, it's the 14th. That Wednesday we will not be here. I'm going to be gone on vacation. I kind of got the engine room here, and the ship don't move too good through space if the engine room lights ain't turned on. So we won't be here but we will be we were thinking we wasn't going to be back on the 21st, but we
'Cause
are.
I'm going to be out of town.
Terry's going to be out of town, but I think we're going to have class and a meeting, and we're going to discuss some terminologies and things dealing with Sadaka. I know you hear me talk about that all the time. It's one of my, I don't want to call it a specialty. I just want to call it a passion. I think I like calling it a passion.
It is
And
definitely
so
a passion.
we're going to talk about that and how it will change people around you, and so that's going to be on the 21st, and then Terry will be back on the 28th.
I'm going to take my laptop with me, and if I can, I may pop in.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. All right, everybody. Again, we thank everybody who joined us here in the Zoom room. We got Mary and Ronald and Amuela and Wendell and Veronica and Fred and Thomas and as always, Terry. And we thank you so much for coming this way. Those of you that are watching, anytime you want to come to the Zoom room, all you got to do is go over where we share the link or send me a message on Facebook, and I'll send you the link, and you can come on in. Until next Wednesday.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.